Chapter 33, Estrogen. Who needs it anyway? Not this gal, at least not anymore. I was thankful to have it when I was ready to welcome children into my family. It definitely came in handy for that process. However, now that it was just a little snack for my cancer, I thought it would be a good idea to be done with it. I was what you might call a fertile myrtle. I did not have any problems getting pregnant, thankfully. I know so many women who struggle with the pain of infertility, and my heart hurts for them. I wish that fertility was something that you could pass on from one person to the next. So many times I thought, wouldn't it be nice if I could just package up my fertility and pass it on? Despite the wonderful blessing that being so fertile could be, it was also a curse. Because I was super estrogen woman, I was not able to shut it off. For instance, when I was learning about the chemo side effects, the only thing that offered a bit of excitement was when they told me that my periods would stop while I was having treatments. I had no problem saying goodbye to my old friend, Aunt Flo. She was a big nuisance, and I was looking forward to enjoying a little break from her. The excitement quickly wore off when 2 weeks after my first chemotherapy treatment, my period started. It was a very unpleasant and unwelcome surprise. Even my oncologist was a little taken aback. That almost never happens, he said. Well, that's me, the overachiever, the gal who likes to go the extra mile in everything that she does. If the odds said that I wouldn't have a period during chemo, leave it to my super estrogen powers to plow through and give me one anyway. Fortunately, though, that was the one and only period that I had during chemo. Once all my chemo treatments were over, the guessing game began. Would the temporary menopause I had been experiencing stick around and become full-blown menopause? Or would my super estrogen powers break through and defy the odds yet again? Super estrogen won again. Only 3 short months after I had finished chemo, Aunt Flo returned. She was not happy to have been shoved away like she was, so she decided to visit twice that month. I was not amused. My oncologist was recommending a complete hysterectomy. He was of the mindset to get rid of everything that was producing estrogen so that the cancer would be deprived of its favorite meal. I was totally on board with that plan, except for 2 things. That meant that I would have another surgery before the end of the year, and that I would have minimal estrogen being produced in my body. I wasn't sure exactly how my body would react to that. I decided it was time to make an appointment with my gynecologist. I had not seen or talked to her since my diagnosis and felt that I needed her expertise to help me make the final decision. When Dr. Mainwaring walked into the exam room, the first thing she did was wrap me up in a great big hug. She told me that she had been closely monitoring my progress because my other doctors had been sending her all my test results and surgical notes. I felt a huge sense of relief because I had worried that I would not be able to remember everything that I needed to catch her up on. After the hug and a bit of small talk, we got right down to business. We discussed the issue of me having a lot of estrogen and 2 ovaries that loved to produce it. That was not good in my situation. Through the course of our discussion, we concluded that yes, a total and complete hysterectomy was the best course of action for me. That decision was solidified in my mind during the physical exam that took place just a few moments after our discussion. While Dr. Mainwaring was checking my ovaries, she felt a cyst on my right one. She scheduled me for an ultrasound so that we could have it checked out right away. Please, I thought, not again. I can't go through this roller coaster ride again. I tried to focus on the rest of our conversation and quell the giant knot that was forming in my stomach. Excerpt from my journal. I hate to even say that I'm not worried about it. Look where I ended up last time I wasn't worried about a lump. But really, the odds of it being cancerous are pretty low. I had chemo running through my body for 4 months, and the cyst was not picked up in 2 different PET scans. I guess there's always a possibility, especially considering the fact that the cancer was in my lymph nodes and that it needs estrogen to grow. My ovaries love to produce estrogen, so it would be the perfect place to camp out. Of course, I'm a little on the paranoid side, with good reason, but I have to remember to have faith and not fear." End quote. As the cancer bells silently screamed in my head, Dr. Mainwaring and I concluded my appointment by discussing the pros and cons of having a hysterectomy at 34 years of age. The cons. I would go directly into menopause, which would include hot flashes, vaginal dryness, bone loss, weight gain, and possibly heart issues. The good news was that some of those symptoms had the potential of only lasting for 5 to 10 years, although I would always have to be mindful of my bones and cardiovascular system. I would also have to be diligent about exercising so that I could keep my body as healthy as possible. The pros: very little estrogen left to grow cancer, which outweighed all of the cons by a long shot. I would like to order 1 hysterectomy, please.